The dreams of winter are about to face the tough test of reality for the CART FedEx Championship Series. There have been many changes since we've last seen them. In just a few moments, those winter dreams will be altered, carved into new history. The long winter wait is over. CART is ready to go.
Alex Zanardi, the man who brought so much excitement, so much charisma to this series and winning the championship for Ganassi Racing the last 2 years, has gone to F1. But his rookie replacement, Juan Montoya, shows tremendous promise. And don't forget the fact that his teammate, Jimmy Vasser, won the championship for Ganassi 3 years ago. They're fast, they're focused, they're ready to go.
If you want to win the championship in 1999, you'll have to figure out a way to beat the Ganassi team. But there are some bona fide contenders that can do it. Think about our front row here. Greg Moore and Adrian Fernandez, each with 2 wins apiece last season. And then Dario Franchitti. In the last 6 races, he's won 3 of them. With Alex Zanardi out of the picture, they are ready to go.
Wait is over. We're ready for the start of the season. Hi, welcome. I'm Paul Page. Joining us this year, Parker Johnstone. After a 21-year career behind the wheel and retiring from the FedEx Series, he's now ready to help us a bit here in the booth. Now, the Newman-Haas stables taking an incredible risk, changing their tire brand just weeks before the start of the season. That means Michael Andretti is on a really unknown tire for them.
Well, sure, it's a big risk, Paul, but Michael Andretti qualified in the top 5. I think he and Newman Haas, they're ready to go. There's no doubt this is the most competitive open-wheel racing series in the world. I'm ready to go.
From the Homestead Miami Speedway, we are ready for the start of the series as Toyota presents the Grand Prix of Miami. A beautiful, crystal clear day. Let's take a look at how they have qualified for the run here today. On the front row, the pole is Greg Moore. He won 2 races last year, as did Adrian Fernandez, who will start on the outside of the front row. Patrick Carpentier on the inside of row 2, and Elio Castroneves on the outside. In row 3, Michael Andretti, who has won the past 2 races here, and Cristiano D'Amata with a Toyota engine. In row 4, Dario Franchitti, and the brand new rookie partner to Jimmy Vasser, Juan Montoya. Jimmy Vasser is on row 5. Alongside is Mauricio Gugelmin. In the 6th row, Brian Herta and Nikoi Hattori. In row 7, Mark Blundell and Al Unser Jr., the lone Penske entry this year. In the 8th row, Max Pappas replacing Bobby Rahal and Christian Fittipaldi. Row 9, Tony Kanaan and Robbie Gordon with his brand new team. The 10th row is Richie Hearn and Raul Boisel substituting for Paul Tracy. In the 11th row, P.J. Jones and Scott Pruitt. Row 12, Alex Barron and Luis Garcia Jr. In the 13th row, Gilles de Ferran, who crashed and was not able to qualify, and Dennis Vitolo. And in the 14th row, Michel Jourdain Jr. That's the way they have qualified. Now, 1.502, a little over 1.5 miles on the track. The race distance, 150 laps. A full second is all that covers first through 20th position. And they expect the first pit stops to come, well, at least waiting till the 45th lap. Now, let's take a look at the onboard cameras that we've got lined up for you here today.
Today we'll be on board with the Toyota Renard of Scott Pruitt. He was second quickest in the morning warm-up. This is the view that we'll see from the Toyota Swift of Richie Hearn. Our 96 Series champion, Jimmy Vasser, with his Honda Renard. And next up, the teammate of Jimmy, Juan Montoya, the only rookie in this field without any oval experience. And finally, starting on that new set of Firestone tires, is the Ford Swift of Michael Andretti. He's won 3 of the last 5 season openers.
We're going to be paying very special attention to Juan Montoya, especially in the first laps, because he's never taken a start on an oval. And what's everybody saying? He won't breathe for a lap or 2?
Well, that's right, Paul. I think young Juan's in for a big surprise. The methanol that's used to power these cars is toxic in that it's difficult to breathe. Your eyes start to tear. I guarantee you, despite his Formula One test experience, he's never felt turbulence or speed like he's about to get when the green flag comes out.
Let's go down to Jan Beekes.
Well, we talk about bona fide contenders for the championship. Remember, one of those would be Paul Tracy. But Paul Tracy not behind the wheel today. Raul Boesel is subbing for him. I know that Paul Tracy will be very, very glad when this little departure from the cockpit is over.
Greg Moore, the pole sitter. Fernandez on the outside. Moore's teammate, Carpentier, just behind him. They come off the corner. They look for the green flag. And here we go. The season is now underway. Greg Moore takes the conventional line into 1. Adrian Fernandez drops into 2nd, but Helio Castroneves drops into 3rd. Whoa, car was trouble up against the wall. Looks like 2 cars coming off of 2, and one of them looks decidedly like a Penske car. Al Unser Jr. climbs out of his machine.
And Naoki Hattori up against Al on the wall. We also have Raul Boesel down in the grass with Richie Hearn as a result of that incident.
So 1 corner, and by the time they're into 2, some serious problems back in the field. Greg Moore took the lead. Kart safety team, Lon Bromley and his group right there. They check with Hattori first. And now with Al Unser Jr., right side of that car is severely damaged. Hattori on the left, Al Unser Jr. over on the right. So if we can take a look at this thing overhead, maybe we can figure it out, Parker.
Well, it looks, Paul, like Naoki just started to use up the track. He didn't see that Al was very close on the right side of his car. It doesn't take much. This is Naoki's first start in a champ car, and just that quick, they're into the fence. You can see the disgust from Al Unser Jr. as he tosses the wheel out of the car. What a disheartening way for Al to start his season.
Garcia in the pits. We'll keep track of that as well. The field now slowed under the caution. Greg Moore, who had taken the lead, followed by Fernandez and then Castroneves. Then Michael Andretti was able to move into 4th place by the time they got to the 2nd corner and this accident. Now we'll take a look at it from Scott Pruitt's car.
Paul, it looks like they just got wheel to wheel there, and you can see they were still 3 abreast trying to get through that corner, but it looks like they just got a little close. Naoki washed up. Even an inch here is critical, and that's all it took to make that wheel-to-wheel contact. You can do that in fender cars. You can't do it in a champ car.
And the mid-pack situation, of course, is why you want to qualify up at the front of the field if you at all can, is not to get caught up in one of these. So under the caution here.
Everybody, get ready. Okay. There's me, and there's my 4x4. I'm picking up some speed. Here I go, up. Woo! Look at me move, and I look great doing it. Woo! Yeah! Look out, everybody. Here comes Tacoma Man. You're the bomb, baby, the bomb. The man. So, what do you think? I am everyday people.
Stanley Cup was supposed to be here 3 days ago. You hear that? That's 20,000 screaming people that are going to tear me apart. They tear! Thank you very much. Goodbye. Stanley Cup! Stanley Cup!
Got an important package? Next time, send it FedEx and be absolutely sure.
They say the game these days is all about money. Well, not for the beer man. For the beer man, it's still about passion. When I crack open a cold Coors Light, I give 110%, just like those guys in the Rockies. And when a fan shouts, "Hey, beer man!" that frost brewed refreshment is delivered like an inside fastball. No, it's not about money. It's about exercise. I gotta drop some pounds.
Coolest life! Get your coolest right here!
We asked professional race car driver Scott Pruitt to test our Firehawk SH30 high-performance tires with Unit T. Unit T, the ultimate tire technology we've spent years perfecting. In fact, when it comes to designing performance tires for wet cornering, we've been around the block. The Firestone Firehawk SH30 with Unit T. Get a grip on wet cornering.
Back at Homestead Miami Speedway, we're still under a caution. The yellow flag flies because of that four-car incident on the start of the race. So we're going to show you the standings. Really only down to turn number 2. That's as far as they got, with Moore jumping in the pole, leading the race, but some movement certainly behind him. And of those involved in the incident, we have a listing of those. Now, Al Unser Jr. started to climb out of the car, but then it took a little while before they actually got him out. So those are those involved, and exactly what happened, what created this situation on the start.
Well, with the benefit of replay, we can see Naoki Hattori low. Al Unser Jr. right here ends up clipping the back of Naoki's car, puts Al into the wall, Naoki in the wall. Then later on, we can see Raul Boesel gets involved, turning sideways right in this area, and here comes Luis Garcia Jr. They end up making contact as Richie Hearn, just in front of them, loses control, trying to avoid the mess. He kept it running, got back to the pits. Now we're on board with Richie Hearn. Let's see what happened from his perspective.
All right, so we're very close now to the green flag once again, but first let's get some updates. Jan Bikas.
Well, first of all, on some of the other cars involved, Raul Boesel, although the car was rolling, the front suspension was damaged beyond repair. The same thing for Luis Garcia. Also spoke to the Penske crew, and they said that Al did not say anything on the radio, but you could see that the steering wheel was out of the car before he had a chance. They have taken both of the drivers, Naoki Hattori and Al Jr., and they have been airlifted to the hospital, Paul.
So the green flag comes out. We'll continue to update you on those situations. Again, it's Greg Moore leading Adrian Fernandez and Elio Castro-Neves. Michael Andretti sitting back in fourth place. You saw Patrick Carpentier start a move. There he is in the blue and white car, and then fell in behind Michael.
Patrick Carpentier, third back to fifth. I tell you, Paul, Robbie Gordon went from 18th to 11th. They dropped him back to 13th with the reshuffling of the yellow. He's continuing to make progress.
Keep track of Robbie Gordon, that new team in a car with very, very little time and certainly no test mileage on the car for Robbie Gordon. Now, what about Raul Boesel, Gary Gerald?
Well, Raul is okay. We can tell you that. What happened from your seat? Apparently just no place to go.
Yeah, exactly, Gary. I just saw the crash in front of me. I tried to avoid it. Came low, and my car got sideways. I had almost saved it pretty much, and then I got hit from the left on my left front suspension. So short day for Nico Green, car 26.
Sorry, thank you very much. And Jan?
Well, Gary, now we have Dr. Olvey. Do you have an update for us on Naoki and also on Al?
Yes, Naoki has a fracture, fairly bad fracture of his left lower leg. Al Jr. has a fracture of his right lower leg. Both drivers are awake. And at this time, it doesn't look like there are other injuries, but he's going to the Ryder Trauma Center in Miami, where they'll do further x-rays and tests, and we'll know more in a little while.
Thank you, Dr. Olvey.
Well, that's just terrible news at the start of the season. Just 2 laps. 2 guys, both promising with fractures. And Al Unser Jr., that's going to create some interesting conversation, I would guess, over at the Penske camp, and make you wonder if Andre Ribeiro might be making a return from his business ventures down in South America if Al cannot be ready for the second race of the season.
Well, we've got some good battles forming up on the track. We see that rookie Cristiano Tamada, with his 6th place qualifying, the highest Toyota qualifying position ever, is engaged with a great fight with Dario Franchitti, one of this year's championship contenders, and behind them is Juan Montoya. I'm sure he's never seen a race like this. His perspective has got to be quite incredible, Paul.
On board with Montoya now. Just ride a lap or 2 with him. We'll get you updated on a couple of other things. He was running the car as loose as he could during practice and qualifying.
happens as he comes down into 3 and 4. Paul, with the other onboard cameras, we'll see that the drivers have a lot more steering input, but Juan has been running this car neutral to loose. Occasionally you'll see the steering wheel come back to straight ahead, even to the right when he's in the middle of the corner. And for oval racing, it may be quick for a lap, but eventually you're going to taste that concrete on the outside, and it does not taste good.
Montoya runs in 8th. That's Dario Franchitti just ahead. And Cristiano D'Amata ahead of Franchitti. The order, no change. Moore, Fernandez, Castro Neves, Andretti, Carpentier. That's the top 5.
Paul, I had a chance to talk with Tom Anderson, the technical manager for Target Chip Ganassi Racing. Oh, and we see Dario Franchitti finally gets by rookie D'Amata going into turn 1. A great move by Dario. He set him up with a good draft going down the straightaway. But Tom Anderson told me that his greatest hope is that this race runs green for a long period of time because he thinks all these cars will go from their initial understeer to loose. Jimmy and Juan are ready for it. And watch Gil DeFerrin. He's come up from the back of the pack. Now he's in 17th place, Paul.
Now remember, DeFerrin not only started in the back of the pack, another piece of information for you, he went into the pits and refueled that car on the 14th lap. That was during the caution. We're now at the 25th lap, so he is going to be out of sequence. Derek Walker, his car owner, already playing a little race strategy, something he is very good at.
Well, Gil, even though involved in that crash yesterday when he had a motor problem, he's very confident. He told me on that lap in qualifying, Paul, he came off of turn 4 faster than he ever has. There's been a lot of talk about Goodyear and Firestone. Gil's confident, not only in his car, his team, but also in those tires. And here he comes, running up behind P.J. Jones.
There's Gil DeFerrin, moves on P.J. Jones now, comes to the inside, can't get the job done, loses a little bit of momentum there.
He's got to set him up, Paul. He's got to fall back, get out of that aerodynamic turbulence, and try to use that Honda's engine to its best advantage to try to draft them down the straightaway. It might take him another lap or 2, but it looks like he's going to try to set up a move going down the inside of turn 1.
DeFerrin up 10 positions from the start of the race, now battling for 16th with P.J. Jones. At the front of the field, it is still Greg Moore being chased by Adrian Fernandez and then Helio Castro Neves. So the season now, finally, is underway. We'll be back.
Need a ride?
Sure, thanks.
Sack of 10, please. Want some?
Okay. You can let me off right here.
White Castle, what you crave. Pick up a sack of 10 White Castle burgers for just $4.30. Gorge on more mind-numbing rides than ever at Six Flags Great Adventure. The first of 25 new rides is Medusa, the world's first floorless coaster.
We're now in the approach phase, everything looking good.
Spring break at Six Flags Great Adventure. You won't go away hungry.
Save $10 on Six Flags Great Adventure admission with coupons from participating Rite Aid stores.
Solara Coupe, an entirely different kind of Camry. It's for you. They're some of our favorite people, the millions of AutoZone customers who change their own oil. They're the kind of folks who believe that taking care of their car and saving money go hand in hand. And while we admire their willingness to tackle a dirty job, most of all, we thank them for bringing their used oil back to us. After all, used motor oil should be recycled, and that's one job we simply can't do alone.
We're back at Homestead Miami Speedway as Toyota presents the Grand Prix of Miami. Paul Page with Parker Johnstone down in the pits. Jan Beekes and Gary Gerald watching the leader, Greg Moore, as now he begins to overhaul slower traffic. So a traffic situation critical for the leader because some of these guys he hasn't had a chance to roll up on before, what it being the first race of the season, and certainly may not be totally familiar with the combinations that he sees.
That's right. I mean, from a driver's perspective, you have to know what that other driver's going to do. Greg Moore is infamous for running very, very close when he passes you. We see him coming up behind Michel Jourdain Jr. Clean pass going down the straightaway. It's going to take a few races before these guys dance comfortably.
Now, a little further back, remember when we left you, P.J. Jones and Bill DeFerrin were going at one another. They still are. In fact, there's been no changes in the order since we left. DeFerrin has crept up a couple of times like this, and that's what's happened in almost every team that he has an opportunity to try and get a position on. PJ just not able to do it.
All weekend long, Paul, the wind has been blowing from the east. It affects the cars because as you drive into the wind, it pins the nose. As you go down with a tailing wind, it tends to let the car wash out. Well, today, the wind's blowing from the west. We see DeFerrin very strong coming off of turn 4. He's been trying to set up PJ. He's in the draft. He's having a look to the inside, and he finally gets it done wheel to wheel going down into turn 1.
Boy, he had to earn that one, though. He'd been fighting for that for several laps. Now, back up at the front of the field, still running in third is Helio Castroneves. Jan Beekes, you have an update.
Well, I sure do, Paul. I think there was a whole lot of people that thought that possibly with that Lola chassis and with very little testing that the qualifying on the second row was a fluke. Well, Helio Castroneves and the Hogan Racing crew have definitely showed that was no fluke. They're competitive. And in fact, they say at the moment they are saving a tremendous amount of fuel with their Mercedes power plant.
And Jan, right on that theme, Adrian Fernandez, no chatter on the radio. They like the way the car is working. And now with that extended yellow, it pushes the fuel window up to about lap 64. That's about 14, 15 laps further than they anticipated at the start of the race.
So the strategy and the tactics are already beginning to play. What with DeFerrin being out of the order, moving through the field around P.J. Jones, now looking at Christian Fittipaldi. We're going to look back in the field once again, take a look at the 33 car of Patrick Carpentier as he chases Michael Andretti in a battle for 4th place.
Patrick Carpentier has come into the season with renewed confidence. He was quickest at spring training, and here we see him look down the inside of Michael Andretti, pick up the draft off Richie Hearn, and now he's got him going down the inside of turn 3. That's the renewed confidence I just mentioned of Patrick Carpentier.
And what a wonderful tactical move it was as well. Duck in behind Hearn, pick up the draft for a second, increase your peak speed toward the end, and cruise right on by. I'm a little surprised Michael didn't try that first.
It shows you that youth and exuberance sometimes makes up for experience because Patrick Carpentier is on the move. He had 2 oval poles last year, had a difficult season, but he's determined to turn that around this year, and we see him doing that right now as he runs in 4th place.
You take a look at the Carpentier car, as well as, of course, his teammate. You take a look at Franchitti and Damana, but I was going to mention that you notice that there's no name on the side of the car. What with all the lawsuits and the legislation over the tobacco industry, that car can no longer carry the player's name on the side, but they can carry the logo. It was a major change for the decal department right at the last minute. And that after they had changed all the decals on the car earlier, just because they had a different livery they wanted to dress out.
Well, Dario Franchitti's definitely making headway on Michael Andretti. Now, we talked about earlier that the Swifts have had an inherent understeer problem on all the Firestone runners. Well, Michael's been doing all the Swift development on Goodyears. He's now switched to Firestone. I talked to their technical engineering department yesterday. They said that he does have a problem with understeer. I think that that's really starting to hurt him at this stage of the race. And here comes Dario Franchitti. Gary?
Richie Hearn coming in. The car was so ill handling that they wanted to come in and make another tire change. Now they're checking all the suspension parts at the rear of the vehicle. And this is a long stop. Richie already had that earlier problem you documented with the spin, trying to avoid that problem on the opening lap.
Shut it off, Richie.
And I think I heard him tell him to shut it off. Yep, that's the case. Engine just died.
Now, you saw it take a pretty good bounce when he got into the spin between 1 and 2. And they're taking a look back at the under tray, especially in the left rear of the car. Jan Beekes?
Well, you've been talking about Dario Franchitti and his run towards Michael Andretti. The crew says that the balance is absolutely perfect, the handling they're referring to. I asked them if they were saving fuel. They said, well, somewhat. So some guys are out there running hard. Others are trying to conserve already.
Carpentier continues to work on Michael Andretti. They just came around Dennis Vitolo. And in fact, just Cristiano Damata comes out and around Vitolo as well, trying to get back into this fight.
Jan mentioned fuel. Dario Franchitti has the uncanny knack to run faster than anybody else in the field with the least amount of fuel, something that his predecessor, Jacques Villeneuve, was also able to do. I don't know how he's figured it out, but he's brilliant. And we see that he's trying to work on Michael. He should have this done in the next 4 or 5 laps. Catching Michael's one thing, Paul. Passing him is something completely different.
Back over in the pit area, Richie Hearn has climbed out of the car, and the car being taken back into the garage area, so Richie Hearn's season has started badly as well. Carpentier, you see, just came up on Fernandez. Now he's beginning to battle with him. Greg Reese into the corner. Oh. So Carpentier moves forward. He's just carving through this field. And Gary Gerald, what about Richie Hearn? Do we know what it is?
Yeah, Richie's out of the car. Richie, I assume this all related to the start of the race on the first lap?
No, I don't think so. We've been struggling with the car all weekend, and I think something broke in the under tray in the back of the car, and it was just extremely loose, and yeah, there's no point in being in everybody's way and endangering myself and everything, so we just have to do some more testing and, you know, get a handle on it and get ready for Japan.
A couple of weeks ago, you had a big crash in testing, and I know you've been hurting. How are you feeling physically here as long as you were able to be on the track?
I feel all right. In the car, I feel fine, but, you know, outside the car, I'm a little sore, but, you know, it's not really a factor for me.
Okay, we look forward to better things in Japan. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Here's Michael Andretti, the fight for 5th now because Dario Franchitti is right there.
He came off that corner very slowly, Paul, like he had a big understeer towards the wall. He had to lift. Dario had a great run on him, but Michael dives back to the inside. He's taking the air off the front of the car of Dario. You can see how Dario has to fall back. But now he might be able to use the cars in front of him as a pick, just as we saw Patrick Carpentier do earlier to try to get around Michael Andretti.
Max Pappas now replacing Bobby Rahal at Team Rahal as Bobby moves over to sole ownership and observation and pit control, no longer behind the wheel. Pappas was 11th on the 37th lap, but up to 8th just a few laps ago. The head-on view for Michael Andretti, something you don't want to see in your rear view mirror. Well, Greg Moore is still the leader. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC station.
People are selling tools today on the market that I don't even think they know where they're made, and they're not a quality tool. One thing about the Craftsman tool, it's made here, and you know the quality's good.
1,800 Craftsman hand tools made in America, guaranteed forever.
If something happens to it, you can take it back, and you know where to take it back because you know where it come from.
Craftsman makes anything possible.
Today's technologically advanced cars brake better than ever before. But it's up to your tires to translate these advances into stopping power on the road. The Firestone FT70C uses Unity technology to help your car stop when the rain starts. So if you're not driving on FT70C tires with Unity, what's stopping you? The Firestone FT70C with Unity Ultimate Tire Technology, built to stop in the wet.
In racing, the engine is everything.
What? It's the driver.
A driver will never see a finish line without a great engine.
The greatest engine will never see a victory lap without a great driver.
At least they agree on Haviland Formula 3 motor oil, the same oil you can buy right off the shelf.
The engine's the first thing over the finish line.
Not in Indy cars. Okay, you're the new driver. You need a new car.
Yeah, I'm looking for a speedy one.
Juan, that's your style.
You think so?
A little work and this baby will purr like a kitten.
Are you sure?
Vanity mirrors.
I don't know, I want like a red car.
Yeah, I like this one here. I see checkered flag. Hi, I'm Jimmy Vassar. Something in a sedan. And this is Juan Montoya. Juan, this is a real deal. They don't make them like this anymore. He's right.
Are you sure Sonora started out this way?
Trust me.
Our coverage of Toyota presents the Grand Prix of Miami is being brought to you by Toyota. Every day belongs to you. Make it count. By FedEx, proud sponsor of the 1999 FedEx Championship Series. By Frost Brewed Coors Light, that reminds you the three most important words are, hey, beer man. And by Firestone, America's tires since 1900. Backus Toyota presents the Grand Prix of Miami, and we continue to watch this fight, which is between Michael Andretti, Mario's in the pits, and Dario Franchitti. This could be it. Yes, it is. Franchitti takes over 5th from Michael. Greg Moore still the leader, followed by Carpentier. And then Adrian Fernandez now back in 3rd.
I talked about the shift in wind direction, Paul. The wind is blowing from turn 2, and if Michael has an understeer problem, that's only going to make the situation worse as he comes off 2. We could see how much stronger Dario was coming off of 2. He used that great balance of his Menard chassis to his advantage and drove right by Michael going down into turn 3.
As we hit the 48th lap, now some of the teams anticipating stops. Tony Kanaan is already in the pits, as is Dennis Vitolo. We expect the leaders almost any time now. Back at the front of the field, they're the team that leads it. Forsyth Racing, Greg Moore, Patrick Carpentier. Michel Jourdain, car number 19, just received the black flag. Observers have noted something spraying at the back of the car. He comes at a pretty good time, given the fact that he probably would schedule a pit stop in at about this moment anyway.
Patrick Carpentier just turned one of the fastest race laps. He is on a mission, Paul. He's hunting down Greg Moore and doing so by a few tenths every lap. What a great battle between teammates. Farther back, we see Dario Franchitti's making a move on Elio Castroneves. We talked about the Swift chassis. Patrick Racing decided to run their 98 car. Here comes Patrick. He's got the momentum. Doesn't get it done, Paul.
To get by, so Greg Moore has maintained the lead from the green flag for 51 laps. And we'll take a look at speeds at the line. That's interesting. Fernandez, quicker of those ahead of him. And your guy, Namada, is really in great shape. Now, of course, part of that is altered by the fact that he might be in traffic, might be out of traffic, but still, that's an awfully good indicator.
What we see here is that Patrick's having a look down the inside of Greg Moore, but he's not close enough to put a move on him. I think that you'll see Greg is a little higher in the groove. Patrick's a little bit lower, looking for cleaner air, but he's certainly starting to play a little bit with Greg Moore, trying to figure out a way how to get close enough to make the pass stick, as Patrick's trying to find a way past Robbie Gordon as they come off of turn 4.
And that's Gordon's new operation just ahead. They come off side by side. Gordon didn't give much up on that one. He wants to stay in the fight, too. That set Patrick Carpentier back 53 laps complete.
Farther back in the picture, we can see Adrian Fernandez is going like crazy, Paul. He's back up to speed. I'm not quite sure. I think Adrian just has a tremendous amount of confidence. This is the car that he won at Motegi with. It's a 98 Renard. It's got about 200 pounds less downforce at 200 miles an hour than the 99. That's significant because when it gets hot like this, you need all the downforce you can get, but apparently no one's told Adrian of this fact.
At Homestead Miami Speedway, the race stuttered to a start with an incident involving 5 different drivers and fractures to Naoki Hattori's lower left leg and Al Unser Jr.'s lower right leg. They have both been airlifted out of here. Greg Moore has led from the pole position. Adrian Fernandez had to hold off a charging Patrick Carpentier, and now Moore finds himself in the same position.
It's interesting to note, Paul, that in the middle of this battle is Juan Montoya, and I bet you right now he's not quite sure what he signed up for.
It's always interesting with a tremendous background that many of these drivers come to the series from, but if they don't have ovals, this can be an awesome learning day. John Vikas?
Well, towards pit in, Paul, which is the area that we are in at the moment, we are expecting some of the top teams, which would include Franchitti and also Helio Castroneves. In fact, Helio Castroneves' crew has just rolled out, so we're starting to see some of the pit stops. And I know for Neves, it's only going to be fuel and tires. They're not planning on changing a thing.
And for Greg Moore, we expect that they'll stagger the stop between he and Carpentier on different laps to give them as much room as possible. They're adjacent to each other on pit road. Moore should be the one who pits first.
That's just exactly what I was wondering, is what they will do about bringing those cars in. Theoretically, you don't want to bring them at the same time.
Sorry to interrupt, Paul, but Robbie Gordon did come in for his stop, and he just stalled it. And now we have the opportunity to watch Helio Castroneves do his work, and Robbie Gordon was able to refire and get back underway. Again, like I said, for Helio Castroneves, they only expect to do tires and fuel. And it looks like all the practice so far this winter has paid off.
Boy, nice stop for the Lola Mercedes. Remember, too, these are the first stops of the year. These teams are a little bit rusty. So the times, theoretically, are going to get a little faster. And they just want to make sure there are no errors. D'Amata is in and out of the pits. But at the same time, Michel Jourdain's car still sits on the pit road. They've pulled the cowling off the back of the car, trying to figure out what's wrong there. Scott Pruitt, as he starts to dial down. Still, the leader stays out. Both Moore and Carpentier. That's Fernandez. One car back. Tony Kanaan is the car in between second and third place right now. Now we'll watch for Moore to start a turn down. He's expected in next lap.
There he goes. And Paul Dario Franchitti has just finished it. Wow! That was an 11-second pit stop for Dario Franchitti. These guys have really put that winter practice to work.
Yeah, I now take back what I said about them being a little rusty.
Well, we talked about them being a little rusty, but some of these guys have done 80, 90, 100 pit stops in preparation for this first race, Paul. So maybe a little performance anxiety, but I think that's about it.
First pit stop for Greg Moore.
And indeed, he hits those marks beautifully. They're also waiting in the pit behind him for Carpentier. We're going to look and see if they take a wing out, a turn up front. Watching, there's the twist up front. A handling characteristic change for Moore. He's growing. Got him at just a fraction under 13 seconds here, Paul.
And two guys readjusting the wing at the same time. That's going to pick up some speed.
Well, what you saw there, Paul, is at the end of Greg's run, I'm sure that he had a little bit of understeer, so they just made that adjustment. Gary?
And now it's Carpentier's turn. The other side of Forsythe Championship Racing going to work. Boy, these guys have waited so long for this moment. Now it's their chance to shine. Can they gain ground in the pits? He's rolling. Great stop. Oh, he's flying.
Adrian Fernandez stayed out. In fact, continues to stay out. Picks up the lead of the race. 62 laps now complete. Michael Andretti assumes second place with these stops. Carpentier was able to come back out into third. Being an oval theoretically then, when Fernandez and Michael stop, you got to wonder where Carpentier is going to end up.
And now Adrian Fernandez heads down the pit lane. Michael should be in very, very soon since he has a similar Ford Cosworth power plant. And Gary will be there with Adrian Fernandez as he brings that 98 Renard down the pit lane.
And we're just arriving, somewhat out of breath. I think, did we beat him here? Yeah, by a moment. Long run. Now we see the nose of the car. Little problem with the bulky left front coming off a little slowly, but they get the other on very quickly. Wing changes up front as well. Wing changes up front. Now he's moving.
All the work was done before all the fuel was in, so that looks good for Adrian Fernandez. Michael Andretti picks up the lead, and here he comes for his service. Newman Haas crew is waiting.
Reset the fuel, Michael. Reset the weight jacker. Take 12 clicks to reset the jacker.
That's the voice of Ed Nethman, who's overseeing the technical direction for Newman Haas.
Go, go.
Ed Nethman, a former aerospace engineer, big-time race crazy nut, my engineer in 1996.
First stop for Montoya. He gets it in there safely, no problem. Or Vassar, I'm sorry.
Big wing change at the front there, Paul.
Well, you got to be impressed with these first rounds of stops. All these teams appear to be flawless. That winter execution practice seems to be paying off.
Montoya was in and out. 20.8 seconds. A lengthy stop for Montoya. Now, Gil DeFerrin picked up the lead of the race. Remember, he stopped off the pace. He is now on the pit road, headed for service from Derek Walker's team.
Down to 60 miles an hour as he looks for his pit box.
How's that for a view?
I like it, Paul.
DeFerrin in. Tire change is complete.
These guys are good.
Boy, look at him pick out of there. Gil DeFerrin, again, it gives him a few laps benefit. He stops on the 66th lap.
It shows you the importance of teamwork. We always focus on the driver out there by himself, but he can't do it with some of the best guys in the business, and these guys are sharp.
So with only one caution thus far, the first pit stops are complete. 66 laps are done, and Dario Franchitti picks up the lead of the race at Homestead. We'll be right back.
For 27 years, I've been peanuts, see? So my pal Tony says, this Coors Light, they frost through it, right? It's icy cold. So I says, I thought everyone drinks it because of all the peanuts I toss. See, I could hit a guy 8 rows up just by hearing the sound of his voice. It was my thing. But with Coors Light, I don't need a thing. Except maybe a towel. Coors Light! Coors Light!
Clean up, aisle 5. You can't afford all this. Jimmy, put that towing package back. Didn't our truck come with shocks?
Not the heavy-duty ones.
What size is this?
16-inch.
Need a price check on the 16-inch alloy.
Nobody wants to pay too much for options. That's why 4Runners come with a package of our most popular accessories, discounted up to $900. Extra value packages, available on all 4Runner models.
Coming in for a fast shine, guys.
He's pressed for time, but he's still gonna get a great shine. Introducing new Turtle Wax Express Shine Liquid Car Wax. Just wipe on. There's no bumping. The rich Carnauba formula in Turtle Wax Express Shine gives you hard shell protection and breakthrough shine in no time. Great for all finishes. Clear coats too. Turtle Wax Express Shine. Spray or new liquid. So fast it runs circles around the rest.
I'm on ESPN Insider. For me, it's like the inside connection. You know, one of my big interests is baseball. You know, because I played baseball when I was in high school. Played JV. I was a senior on the JV. But, you know, my coach said that for the program, that's where I was going to be best used. And I'm a team player. And, you know, at the end of the year, I had a cup of coffee with the varsity.
Views today, courtesy of the Goodyear blimp stars and stripes. Goodyear's overhead coverage, a continuing tradition that began in 1960 at the Orange Bowl, right here in South Florida. Paul Page with Parker Johnstone. Dario Franchitti is the leader of the race, 70 laps complete. Michael Andretti, with that great experiment in tires, is up in second place. Greg Moore runs now in third. Patrick Carpentier is fourth, and Adrian Fernandez, who ran in second for a good part, is now back in fifth.
Well, the passing didn't happen on the racetrack. It happened in the pit lane. And that shows how important the teamwork of these pit crews are. Now, we see how busy the guys in the pits are, but the driver at the same time, Paul, when he comes down the pit lane, he's got to get the car on the marks, in position, reset the fuel counter, both sway bars, the weight jacker, and tell the crew any changes that he might need. Jan Beekes?
Well, another round of those pit stops and checking in with Dario Franchitti, our leader. We said it was an 11-second pit stop, which put him into the lead. And you would wonder, did they get all the fuel on board? The crew says yes. They were able to get the tires done and all the fuel on board and get that all done for the first stop of the year in 11 seconds. Pretty impressive.
Boy, that graphic showed you the difference right there. Exactly what you said, Parker. Look at the improvements that both Franchitti and Michael Andretti gained on the pit stop and how adversely it affected others.
That's right. The key is also to turn very quick laps while your competitors are in the pits, and then getting up to speed as quickly as possible is very, very important. And both Dario and Michael was able to do that.
Well, we said we were going to keep track of Juan Montoya with our Toyota Spotlight. Let's take a look at how he did on the very first pit stop that he made.
Turn it. That's good. Slow down.
It's difficult there, Paul. He came in, locked up the brakes on the polished concrete, having come off the asphalt. It's a typical rookie problem.
Tires are on. Fuel ready.
Oh! Well, explains the lengthy pit stop. Started early, caught his guy. Remember the stop at 20.8. Boy, that was close. If he'd been digging harder, it really would have been hurt.
And you can hear the reassuring voice of Tom Anderson trying to keep him calmed down, keep him focused and back on track. It's just one of a couple of stops. We've got a long season ahead, and that's part of the learning curve of being a rookie in the Champ Car Series.
Exactly, another lesson learned. Sometimes that can be so frustrating. We're going to go back, look at the battle for third and fourth. Greg Moore and teammate Carpentier. It's so frustrating for a new driver to the series who is so accustomed to doing very, very well elsewhere and suddenly finds that learning curve just took a major climb upward.
I think a lot of people underestimate how good these teams and these drivers are. They are the best in the world. They have to be good in 4 different disciplines on the short ovals, the super speedways, the road courses, and the street courses. And oval racing is a discipline all unto itself, and it takes some time to learn, Paul.
Everybody's in this fight. Moore, Carpentier surge forward. Fernandez is right there. Castro Neves is there as well. Now a battle for third that is trying to chase down the two at the front of the field, who are Franchitti and Michael Andretti.
We were able to see Moore take advantage of the traffic. Carpentier wasn't able to get through. Fernandez also got jammed up as Castroneves got a run on him. Traffic, it's just draw, luck of the draw, Paul. Sometimes it works for you, sometimes against you. But now we see Carpentier trying to close down on his teammate again as Adrian Fernandez is trying to work up back into that battle. But he's got to get past Michel Jourdain Jr. first.
Past the halfway point with 78 laps. Into the book now, counting down with 71 to go. Franchitti led 5 of the last 6 races in 98, which included wins in 3 of those races, but interestingly enough, all on road courses. Fernandez handles up some slower traffic, tries to rejoin the pursuit of Moore and Carpentier. Laps led by Tire Makes. Again, Firestone.
We're on board with Juan Montoya. You can listen how much he has to come out of the throttle because of the understeers. He comes out of 3 and 4. Let's take a couple laps if we have the chance. Listen and watch rookie Juan Montoya.
Problem over in turn 2 as the yellow comes out.
Turn 2 up high.
Oh, and it's shot through.
What a shame, Paul.
Pioneer car jumped up and caught the wall, rode along it for some distance. Safety team is there. Wheel comes off. We'll keep an eye on Scott now. RCR World's team with their first incident of the season. Scott Pruitt catches the wall, brings out our second yellow of the day on the 81st lap. Dario Franchitti is still our leader.
For an easy way to lose weight without dieting?
Fit America's the only thing I've ever done that works, and I've tried them all.
You want me to eat all this food every day? Your weight loss success is our business.
42 pounds so far, and I couldn't have done it without you. These pants used to be tight on me.
You lose weight your way.
As long as I don't have to drink shakes or eat all those packaged foods, I'm fine.
Did you know how great it is not to be hungry all the time?
I lost 85 pounds, and you can too. Call Fit America today.
Not hiding anything. If someone buys a DBS system from you, isn't it true that they still have to purchase programming?
Isn't it also true DBS customers are responsible for their own service and installation?
I have no control over that. But with cable TV, you've already got all the top-rated channels. There's no equipment to buy, and service and installation are guaranteed.
I don't think that's relevant.
Isn't it a fact, sir, that DBS can actually cost much more than cable TV?
I don't recall.
If you're thinking about DBS, you might want to think twice. Cable TV, the best value in home entertainment.
I haven't done anything wrong. Building.
All right, bring it in here, guys. Huddle up. Now listen up, fellas. We got a full house out there. They can't get to the Rockies, so let's bring the Rockies to them. Right. We got the coldest beer around. With frost-brewed Coors Light in our trays, there's no reason we shouldn't have a great day. Now what do they want? Coors Light. What do we got? Coors Light. What? Coors Light. I can't hear you. Coors Light. Get ready.
We asked professional race car driver Scott Pruitt to test our Firehawk SH30 high-performance tires with Unit T. Unit T, the ultimate tire technology we've spent years perfecting. In fact, when it comes to designing performance tires for wet cornering, we've been around the block. The Firestone Firehawk SH30 with Unit T. Get a grip on wet cornering.
Back as Toyota presents the Grand Prix of Miami. Under this yellow, the leader and a number of others have decided to bring it in for service. Jan Beacon.
Yes, Dario Franchitti brings it to a stop, and it looked at first, Paul, as though he was the only leader. Well, he is, of course, the leader, but one of the top guys that would stop. I asked Tim Green why, and he said, it's our strategy. Let's get to Gary.
And, of course, when the leader comes in, a lot of people follow suit, including Michael Andretti. They just told us moments ago they didn't plan to, but here they are, and he stalls it. They've got to back him up, engage the starter. The man who's won this race the last 2 years with a problem. Now he's refire and going.
And Gary, just to update the Franchitti stop, another 11 seconds here on pit road. These guys are on fire.
Well, except for Michaels, 4 in and out with 11 seconds, 11.1, the quickest of those 3 stops. The stall cost Michael Andretti another 6 seconds. So, with the second caution of the day, the reason that we are under this caution is impact with the wall involving Scott Pruitt.
You can see he's having a look down the inside of Mauricio Guzman here, Paul. They go down to turn 1. Scott's right down on the white line. He just got too far underneath. The car rotated and impacted the wall hard. That's the problem, is that there's a little bit of a dip right down on the apron, and if you get the left rear tire down on that dip over that white line, it turns the car straight around. That's what happened to Scott.
Well, he got out of the car pretty quickly. ABC Sports Road to the Visa Triple Crown Challenge continues Saturday at 2 Eastern with the GalleryFurniture.com Stakes in Turfway Park in Florence, Kentucky. So under the caution, the leaders at least make their stops, and the strategy begins to play out now with 64 laps to go.
Murphy, I want you to pick my wife up from the airport. Her name is Thelma.
I'm Thelma.
Really?
Really?
Camry's extra value package with CD player and 6 speakers and a power driver's seat.
Thanks for the ride.
No problem, Mrs. Burns.
Who's Mrs. Burns?
Did we mention anti-lock brakes? The 1999 Camry. Now with special savings. At least the road will be smooth.
Stanley Cup was supposed to be here 3 days ago. We hear that there's 20,000 screaming people that are going to tear me apart. Hey, tear! Thank you very much. Thanks. Goodbye. 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 Stanley Cup! Stanley Cup!
Got an important package? Next time, send it FedEx and be absolutely sure.
For 27 years, I've been peanuts, see? To my pal Tony says, this Coors Light, they frost brew it, right? It's icy cold. So I says, I thought everyone drinks it because of all the peanuts I've tossed. See, I could hit a guy 8 rows up just by hearing the sound of his voice. It was my thing. But with Coors Light, I don't need a thing. Except maybe a towel. Coors Light! Coors Light!
Today's technologically advanced cars brake better than ever before. But it's up to your tires to translate these advances into stopping power on the road. The Firestone FT70C uses Unity technology to help your car stop when the rain starts. So if you're not driving on FT70C tires with Unity, what's stopping you? The Firestone FT70C with Unity Ultimate Tire Technology, built to stop in the wet.
Our Toyota Spotlight, let's take a look at Michael Andretti. Remember, he won 2 years ago and then repeated that feat just a year ago. So back-to-back wins for Michael Andretti, and that was one terrific finish. Well, today, long pit stop.
Reset the fuel meter. Reset the fuel meter. Go, 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 go.
And there's the stall. And now the clock is ticking, dead engine. Michael trying to get it going. They fire him, and he's underway. Seems like only a few seconds it is, but it's an eternity in the cockpit. Well, let's go back with the race recap. At the conclusion of the 90th lap, the leader in the Lola was Helio Castro Neves. Green race average has been at 188 miles an hour, and there are the cars that are out of the race. Now, one of those cars is the Focus of the gentleman just joined us here in the booth. That's the car driven for at least 2 turns by Raul Boisel, because Paul Tracy has joined us. The reason you're not in the car is you are serving out your suspension from last year at this race. Can you say that maybe that accident proves it's not you?
Well, it was definitely a frustrating day for the team, but I can honestly say this, that it's far less frustrating for us than it's been for Al and his whole family, what he's had to go through this winter. Me having to sit out the first race really doesn't mean anything compared to what Al has to be going through, and all of our team, our hearts go out to him, and speedy recovery for his daughter Cody, and we'll see you guys hopefully in the next couple of races.
Absolutely, and well said. What about your situation now, just in terms of being a spectator? Pretty tough?
It's tough. I mean, I've been asked 1,000 times, how does it feel? And I think if one more person asked me how does it feel, I might kick them in the groin and tell them that's how it feels. But it's tough to sit here, but it's been an entertaining race. Dee Ferran he's the big question mark here. The strategy is good. Pitting early on that first yellow, I think he is definitely very motivated from yesterday to prove something.
We come back to green. Helio Castro Neves is the leader in Carl Hogan's Lola, followed by DeFerrin, Ariel Franchitti, and Patrick Carpentier. Jan Beekes, can you update us?
I sure can on Carl Hogan. I asked him, well, you're in the lead now. Why did everyone else pit? And he shrugged his shoulders with a big smile and says, I have absolutely no idea. I am bewildered why they pit. They cannot make it to the end, and we're just going to wait till we have the opportunity. We're saving fuel, and we think that we're right where we want to be.
Yeah, that's exactly what Parker and I were talking about in the booth while we were waiting for them to come in. Why would they do it?
They can't make it to the end. The only thing they can hope for is a yellow. And that will only stretch the fuel mileage, but they have to come in.
All right, this is Patrick Carpentier. He came in directly into the pits rather than using the access road, so he had to make a pass-through of the pits as a black flag penalty. Same for Robbie Gordon.
That's a big no-no. I mean, 60 miles an hour through the pit is a half a lap, so you can see the leaders are coming by to start-finish, and Patrick's on the back straightaway. He's about to be within a corner of being lapped, so that's pretty much effectively ended his day.
Yeah, Robbie Gordon was the other one that went through. Came in 19th, Jan Beekes.
Well, the reason he's back in 19th, Paul, is because they've had a problem with the seal on the rear air jack that raises the car. So they came in during the caution and spent a whole bunch of time here. They had to seal off the hose on the back of the car so at least the front 2 air jacks would work.
And that roll through the pits dropped him back yet another lap. He is now 5 behind the race. But you know, Robbie has had a great attitude here all weekend. He seems to be enjoying the role with the ownership of the car, the relationship with Mike and with John Menard, and he really seems to be having a good time for a guy to come to the track with 0 testing time and a lot of work to do.
I know Robbie very well. He's a hands-on guy. He's always working on stuff and spent time hanging out with him. He loves to get his hands dirty, working on things, and this is probably the best opportunity for him because he's able to do what he wants to do without any question, and he's got some other partners that are going to let him kind of run, hold the reins, and I think he enjoys it.
Watching here at the battle for the front. Now keep an eye on the 5 car. Still DeFerrin, second in that line, second in the race. There have been reports that that car may be bottoming and doing so heavily, so the officials are now focusing on that car under observation.
Well, that's a consequence of being on full tanks. They try to run these cars as low as they can to produce as much downforce as possible. As the fuel load burns, that car will naturally start to lift itself off the ground. And usually it's just a matter of dust coming off the skid block on the bottom, and that's all the officials are saying. But they'll keep an eye on it, and we'll keep you updated.
That's Tony Kanaan moving very, very slow.
Definitely has a problem.
He heads out.
this could cause a yellow if he's not able to get around. So this could cause some pit stops here to happen.
And just now he rolls into an area that would put him in jeopardy on the race course. We'll keep an eye on him. And we look back to Jimmy Vasser being attacked by Mac Pappas. The battle here is for 7.
And on that last lap, Helio Castroneves just turned the fastest lap of the race. But if they do throw a yellow, it'll be exactly what Patrick Carpentier needs to get back at the end of the field. We'll wait to see what the officials do and whether Tony pulls it off into the grass off the racing surface.
Tony's
right now, you'll get
really
a glimpse of him in a second. There he is. In a really precarious position, I think. Jan Vikas?
According to the McDonald's crew, they say they believe that it is fuel. Just did not have enough fuel to get it back on pit road. Let's get to Gary.
And a quick update on Gilles de Ferran. Derek Walker says, we're not aware of any problem with the car bottoming. They like the way it's working. They know everybody's going to have to make one more stop before this is all said and done. And de Ferran, who remember started at the back of the pack after a crash in qualifying yesterday, during that last break, radioed in and said, this is turning out to be quite a fun race. Yeah, he's up there running for second. And as loose as the car was early in warm-up this morning, they are elated.
I can tell you what, I've been in the car, and that was a violent crash yesterday, and his ears have got to be ringing today, but he's doing a great job. Has driven the thing from the back of the field and is really putting on a show. Probably the class of the field.
And yet he wasn't able to qualify. Got in a real slapper on the right side of the car. Most of the injury to his right elbow, he had it bandaged up good. Can't be too pleasant to be in there now, except for the fact they're sitting in second place. And just another note on Jill, he's the only guy to lead in all 4 of the champ races here at Homestead. You watch, though, what is a wonderful story as well with Helio Castroneves, Carl Hogan, the owner of this Lola machine. There's Carl. He keeps track of his car. And they're running in front. They're on a strategy. Race is now at 103 laps. They're in front and happy.
Small budget, not much testing. One of the few Lolas in the field. And here's Helio Castroneves turning the fastest race lap again at a 27.1, well over 200 miles an hour. I'm sure there's a big Brazilian smile inside that helmet. We still have 46 laps to go. We'll see what'll happen here, Paul.
We'll have to see what happens. Carl's had a lot of heartbreak in the last couple years. Dario leading at St. Louis and running out of fuel, having a gearbox problem. He's had his share of misfortune, and if they can pull it off, for not only for Carl but for Lola, that's a big statement.
And Paul Tracy, good to have you up here. Stick with us for a while as we watch Helio Castroneves lead Gilles de Ferran, and Dario Franchitti now is beginning to take a good look at the battle for the lead. We'll be back with more right after this.
What a day. I get fired on national TV.
No, it could be worse.
How could it possibly be worse, Frank?
I think it just got worse.
And now, Budweiser's replacement for Louis the Lizard.
No.
The Ferret!
This is not going to be good for my blood pressure.
He's good.
Don't encourage him, Frank.
Michael came onto the scene in IndyCars as a winner. I'm very proud of the fact that he's carrying on the Andretti name. I'll never forget the first really competitive pass that he did on me. He banged wheels a little bit. That car almost full drift in front of me, and he was gone. Adios, Dada.
The Andrettis rely on the same Haviland Formula 3 motor oil you can buy right off the shelf.
That's my boy.
Right now, Firestone tires are on sale. 4 for $99. Add a new 50,000-mile warranty, and people will buy them 8 at a time, maybe even 12.
The 4 for $99 sale at Firestone.
Everybody I know calls her the cow, even people I don't know. I threw a parade for the cow because it definitely needed something to honor this moment. 300,000! It's really saying something to think that we went through 15 New England winters. It's just an amazing vehicle. It's been a really good buddy. It's been a good friend. And heck, we just need another excuse for a party.
Toyota trucks. How many miles can you put on?
Celebrate Hollywood's main event. Oscar winner Gina Davis hosts the pre-show, and Oscar winner Whoopi Goldberg hosts the Academy Awards. ABC Sunday at the Oscars, live tonight. Second place behind Helio Castro-Neves is Jill DeFerrin. Strategy from the Walker team already playing. Every year he makes some picks for the Oscar. He's picked Private Ryan to win Best Picture. I'll go along with that. I look down the line of the booth and everybody else, I'm not risking anything. Let's go to Jan Beekes.
A couple of updates for you, Paul. First of all, Scott Pruitt. Of course, it's his accident to put Helio Castro-Neves in the lead. He has a bruised ankle. They want to ice it for about 20 minutes, and they will release him. And Helio Castro-Neves is going to be in here on lap 110. So that's only a lap or two from now. The leader should be on pit road.
Tony Kanaan finally has his car on pit road, but has climbed out of the car. So the assumption that addition to the Forsyth Championship Racing team may be done for the day. It certainly looks that way at the moment. We watch now for Castro-Neves to make an appearance on pit road. And at the Carl Hogan Racing team, DeFerrin will pick up the lead of the race when that happens, followed by Franchitti and Fernandez. Pretty quiet. Everybody seems to be just waiting separation back in the field. I think probably waiting to see how the tactics of this thing, as you suggested, Paul Tracy, are going to play out.
Well, it really is. I'm sure that, Jill and Dario, they're just pacing themselves right now, trying to make good fuel mileage. As it goes yellow, they can have a fairly quick stop. So, here we go.
Got an engine going coming off at 2, at least and it's Fernandez.
Adrian Fernandez.
Oh, no. Fernandez is sitting in 4th place. Display a plume of vapor at the back of the car.
And he stays on the track going through 3
and the yellow comes
We've
out.
gone yellow, so here's where the race is going to start right now.
And he's lost it.
Loses it.
Adrian spins in his own oil through 3 and 4 and makes contact with the outside wall.
Boy, I was surprised. Yeah, exactly. Pound that wheel. Why didn't he get it down and get it stopped?
I was very surprised, Paul. He missed the pit in as he came down the chute on the back straightaway, continued on the racing line through 3 and 4, and then spun in his own oil and made contact with Wall on the outside of turn 4.
Exactly, but the question is, if you knew that plume was there, and that's making a big assumption, then you got to think there's oil there, and maybe I ought not to be running all the way out there. I ought to get this thing way down as soon as I can.
Well, as much as his speed had dropped off, he had to know that something was wrong.
He's upset, too. You can see the disappointment. He's, maybe should have brought it in the pit. The day was over, so might as well come in.
Yeah. Too bad for Adrian Fernandez. That's going to be a tough blow for that operation. Here it is, Parker.
Now, he's already missed the pit in. You can see that lower on your screen. He's driving down the inside, gets in his own oil, turns it around, locks the brakes up here on the front, but it's too late. There's no way he's going to get it back and makes contact with the wall. Gives you an idea of how fast these cars are going. He had slowed down a lot, still made heavy contact with the outside wall.
Well, and the point is, though, that the first real show of vapor at the back of the car came over off at turn 1. This is in turn 4.
That's right, and what the problem that we've got now is that he oiled the exit of turn 2, and here we see him coming off at turn 2. It's real obvious that the motor's gone south. You can see the streak of oil on the track there. He continued through 3 and 4 until he spun and contacted the wall there, Paul.
Jan Beekes?
Well, we talked about Tony Kanaan, Paul, that he climbed from the car. Was it fuel?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened. The number and the dash was right. I mean, we had like probably 10 more laps on them, but something went wrong, and unfortunately, we had to stop.
The conditions right now on the track?
It's very, very, very hard. Low grip, a lot of understeer. On traffic, the car is bad for everybody. It's very loose because they take the wind out of the front of the car. So it's been hard. It's hard to drive. It's a hot day. Unfortunately, for the McDonald's, it's done today. But we're gonna come back to Montigny.
Tough way to start the season. Thanks.
Okay. Nice guy, though, Tony Kanaan, out of the race early. So the caution flies for the 3rd time of the day at the Homestead Miami Speedway.
We are unique. We are diverse. We're international mail. We are bold. Call for your free catalog and we'll fork over $10 towards your first purchase. We are trend-setting. We are better than ever. 1-800-664-6444. International Mail, for style as individual as you.
For an easy way to lose weight without dieting?
Fit America's the only thing I've ever done that works, and I've tried them all.
You want me to eat all this food every day? Your weight loss success is our business.
42 pounds so far, and I couldn't have done it without you.
These pants used to be tight on me.
You lose weight your way.
As long as I don't have to drink shakes or eat all those packaged foods,
I'm fine.
Do you know how great it is not to be hungry all the time?
I lost 85 pounds, and you can too. Call Fit America today.
I can't believe he actually fell for it.
Oh, man, you should have seen the look on his face.
Hey, guys, what's up? Not much.
Hey, is Juan around?
Juan Montoya, our new driver.
Oh, yeah, Juan. He went out to get some stuff.
Yeah. Just see him when he gets back.
Here, snipe. Here, snipe.
The styling of the new Vulcan 1500 Drifter takes you back to another time. The engineering, make sure you don't get stuck there. Vulcan, only from Kawasaki.
Our thanks to the pilots and crew of the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes for these aerial shots, looking down on Adrian Fernandez. Back in 1926, when Goodyear began its first commercial blimp operation with the blimp Pilgrim. Now let's go to Jan Beekes.
We're waiting for the leader on pit road. Helio Castro Neves is going to be here any moment. And again, they're hoping that they'll just be able to do fuel and tires. Now, there's no one around him because he's near pit in. Wheels come to a stop. We start the watch. And this is when the guys need to not try to go too fast. The trick to making a fast pit stop is just taking your time, one thing at a time. They're waiting for the fuel. 12-7. Let's get to Gary.
Kill the Farron in, quick stop, big change on Stagger, the rear tires. He's out of here. I haven't seen. There comes the Hogan car. He got out ahead of Helio Castro Neves.
There's a good example of the teamwork, Paul. Dario Franchitti.
I don't mean to crow, but the team pool green smoked him on that one. It was a big pit stop for the team, and this could be the defining moment of the race.
Could well be, because Franchitti got rolling well ahead of both other cars, and even given the pit distance, was in great shape by the time he got to the end of the pit lane.
Barry Green is very strict about the pit stops. We have a car in our shop that just sits there alone on jacks, and the crew has to practice 5 times a day, every day throughout the winter, their pit stops. They've really honed their pit stops this winter. The guys are in great shape. They've been working out, and it showed today.
And for most of the top teams, that's become the standard drill now because of situations just exactly like that it makes a world of difference, especially on the oval. So Greg Moore, for the moment at least, picks up the lead, 115 laps complete. We'll be back after these messages and a word from your ABC station.
You know something, Lou?
Yeah?
I know why we got fired. Too much of your yapping and not enough of this.
What's that? Hey, that was uncalled for.
Oh, and electrocuting us last year was okay.
That was a joke.
Ah, you like jokes, huh? Here's one for you. 2 frogs walk into a bar. One of them does this.
Ow! Slap the punk! Call security!
Who's your daddy?
Yeah, hey, ow!
Want a piece of me?
Frankie!
Look, it's changing colors.
Come on, squirt some tears, punk.
Frankie! I think they're upset!
I've reached top speeds on Firestone racing tires. So they asked me, Ari, how can we make our street tires move faster? Easy. Put them on sale. 4 for $99. Add a new 50,000-mile warranty, and people will buy them 8 at a time. Maybe even 12. If you want to sell them faster, get a taller driver. Whoa!
The 4 for $99 sale at Firestone. These tires are going fast. The RAV4. Stock for everyone. Only you. Nobody tells these guys how to drive. Nobody tells them they can't race 700 horsepower trucks. And no one's going to tell them what tools to use. The 1999 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Tough trucks, tougher drivers, the toughest tools. Craftsman makes anything possible.
Back at Homestead Miami Speedway, Paul Page with Parker Johnstone. We're still under the caution. Greg Moore is the leader of the race, and here is our field summary as it stands at the moment. The strategy, though, is getting to be really cool at this point. And one of those reasons is because they may think that Moore is getting great fuel mileage. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Paul, as you well know, on Friday, a tremendous incident, one of the heaviest impacts that we've ever witnessed in one of these champ cars, occurred in turn 4. Shigeaki Hattori had just a hellacious hit. In fact, the G's were measured at over 140. I can never remember a hit with that high of a number. They have those impact recorders on board. But amazingly enough, after an overnight stay in the hospital, Shigeaki, who was driving for Tony Bentonhausen's team, is back here at the track. He is feeling just fine. You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
We are so happy because it was a tremendous impact, and this young man, wanting to have a future with champ cars coming from the Indy Lights ranks, is hoping that he'll get an opportunity shortly to get back on board. We're happy to see him here, Paul, after that big hit.
Gary Gerald, while we have you, the story on Greg Moore. Great fuel mileage on the leader?
Well, I just talked with Neil Mickelwright just a few moments ago, and I asked him, how far can you go before you have to come in and get a splash? And he said, we are okay. We don't have to come in. I'm thinking, man, they're getting great fuel mileage. I'm surprised. Jan Beekes?
Well, Gary, the Hogan crew figures no way can Greg Moore make it to the end, and they pointed out that the reason that their pit stop did take a little bit longer, even though Paul Tracy pointed out they were smoked by Team Pool Green, was because they needed more fuel. The other guys were out of sequence. They didn't need as much fuel in the tank, and of course that's the limiting factor on how fast you can pit. They say now, of course, they have plenty of fuel to make it to the end, and they're instructing that there's only a couple guys ahead of Helio that they think are going to be able to make it to the end, and Greg Moore was not one of them.
31 laps remain. This is getting very neat now. The tactics of this thing are going to be awesome. Thus far, we've had 7 changes among 7 drivers. That's a new record for the number of changes, and ties for the number of leaders. Michael Andretti, there he is. Nice head-on view. That's what you look like when we have that head-on.
Head-on in the Swift. What is interesting, thinking back to the Fernandez crash, that is a team that's primarily running a Swift.
Yes.
They've been using a Reynard for the first couple races. It'll be interesting to see what they do for Japan, whether they go back to the Swift, because Reynard is probably pretty reluctant to sell them parts since they're a Swift team. So it'll be interesting to see what happens for them testing-wise in the next couple weeks.
On the backstretch, they're ready to go back to green. Robbie Gordon, by the way, is officially retired from the race as well. Moore picks up the pace. Michael Andretti is right there, as is Vassar, Pappas, Blundell, and D'Amata. They have not stopped.
This looks like last year.
Boy, doesn't it? Switch of positions. But having said they haven't stopped, the next question is, do they and when?
Michael Andretti looking for clean air there as they went down into turn 1, looking to the inside. We're right on board.
I tell you, Michael has had great luck here. He had a bad pit stop. He's recovered from that. Might be in position here to win the race. You know, as the race goes on, he's a lot more experienced than the rest of these guys and can really put the pressure on when it counts.
Approaching 220 miles an hour down into turn 1. The drivers are experiencing about 4.4 G sustained through these 4 corners. Hard on the throttle, the Cosworth winding up, approaching 15,000 RPM as he heads down to turn number 3.
As we watch the fight for the lead, bitter disappointment for Adrian Fernandez, Gary Gerald.
Yeah, Adrian is back with his crew. Adrian, the question we're wondering about, were you aware the motor was going away, and why didn't you pull down off the track?
I had no idea. For me, the engine was running fine, and suddenly the yellow came. I came into turn 3 and 4, and I slowed down as normal, and suddenly just the car completely spun on me, and I thought I hit some oil or something on the track. I mean, that's what I thought, because I said maybe that was the reason for the yellow, but there were no prevention for me to do anything. So if it was the engine, I didn't know.
as you go to Japan, do you know, will you stay with the Reynard chassis that you won with a year ago?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this car was running really good. I mean, the Patrick Racing team was really doing a great job with this car. I think we had a car to win the race at the end because we were just cruising around trying to save the tires for the end. But, I mean, I was pissed off, and it's just a shame. But, you know, things happen.
Thank you, Adrian. Jan?
Well, Robbie Gordon has also climbed from his car. And, Robbie, we reported that it was first an air jack. Was it the air jack that put you out?
Sorry, I didn't get a chance to hear you there.
Was it the stuck air jack that actually put you out?
We had a couple other problems. We were very loose from the beginning. You know, one way to look at it, we can only go up from here. Had a pretty bad day.
All right, well, hope you have better luck in Japan. Paul?
Frankie handles up to Mata for 6th place. The battle of the lead now. Michael Andretti is beginning to tug on that rope connected between he and Moore. It's gone from 8.5 tenths down into the 7s, and then now it's just jumped up a bit. But Michael's very definitely there and on the fight. Paul Tracy, we know you're going to want to keep track of Cool Team Green here. Thanks for spending the time up in the booth with us, and from now on we want to see you down there.
Well, that's where I want to be. This is the last place I want to be, is standing beside you, Paul, but I'd rather be down in the car, and you know, I think we've got a great chance for Japan, and hopefully we can get it done there.
Was that a shot? Was that
a little bit? A little bit.
Well, okay, we're going to get you out of the booth without an accident up here. Okay, thanks for coming up.
Okay,
You're
thank
a good
you.
man. Greg Moore is the leader. Michael Andretti second. Jimmy Vasser third. Fuel is the story. Who can make it to the finish?
With an extra value package, the 99 Corolla CE comes with power windows, power door locks, and air conditioning. So you and your friends will be a lot more comfortable. Hey, we can fit 2 more in here, come on!
Today we're going to learn the easy way to mow the lawn. This is a lawn. This is a boy. A lawn. Boy. Lawn. Boy. Lawn boy. Easy, huh?
Lawn Boy. Easy to start, easy to use, easy to maintain.
Any questions?
Why are there 2 of you?
I've reached top speeds on Firestone racing tires. So they asked me, Ari, how can we make our street tires move faster? Easy. Put them on sale. 4 for $99. Add a new 50,000-mile warranty, and people will buy them 8 at a time. Maybe even 12.
If you want to sell them faster, get it to the driver. Whoa!
The 4 for $99 sale at Firestone. These tires are going fast.
Dan?
Hey, Mark.
You and I go back a long ways, right?
Yeah.
You're my best friend. Well, I have something for you. It's number 62.
No, I can't.
Please take this. This is number 62. Number 62. I'm going to cherish this for life. Thanks. No, thank you.
Paul Page with Parker Johnstone, Jan Dekas, Gary Gerald. We're at the Homestead Miami Speedway as Toyota presents the Grand Prix of Miami. 22 laps to go. A wonderfully tactical race now. Who can go and how far can they go? Nothing's changed since we've left you. Greg Moore is still the leader. Michael Andretti second. Jimmy Vasser is third. Pappas is fourth. Mark Blundell is fifth. The question is, all of those cars which have not been recently in the pits, how far can they carry this run? We're in the closing laps with just 21 to go.
It's interesting to watch this, Paul. Greg Moore driving a little bit more on the high side. Michael going in very early, both in turns 1 and 3. Most drivers will tell you this is a one-lane racetrack, but it doesn't look like Michael Andretti agrees. Look at him go down to the inside there as we ride along with him. He's right on the white line. Still has a lot of understeer in that car, and he's just trying to figure out how to make a move on Greg Moore.
Max Pappas, Mark Blundell is there now, working their way up along with Franchitti. Pappas sits in fourth, then Franchitti, then Blundell. Blundell just a little off to the right, very definitely part of this run.
Paul
sorry to jump in, but I believe the Helio Castro Neves has just had an engine problem. He went down the front straightaway, and you can hear the sound. Something is not right with that car.
Well, with the stop and his problems, he's dropped back to 10th place. Almost 8 seconds behind the lead of the race. Keep an eye on him.
Look at this battle, Paul. We've got Vassar, Franchitti, and Pappas up behind Alex Barron. The cars throw so much turbulence up in the air, you can only get within a few car lengths unless you have a very definite superior handling car. And that's what we're seeing is this aerodynamic buffeting, limiting the driver's ability to get right back up on the gearbox of the car in front of them.
Back with Montoya. He runs in 14th. He's lost 2 laps to the remainder of the race. Jimmy Vassar was beginning to receive a challenge by Franchitti just a few seconds ago. And Greg Moore is still the leader, followed by Michael Andretti. What about Montoya, Gary Gerald?
Well, we're hearing that there may be a possible problem with the engine in the power plant department. He continues to stay on track. His teammate Vassar, we were checking with him, running in 3rd place. They say he has enough fuel. Max Pappas, we just talked with Tim Cindric. He's managing that team, the Rahal team. Pappas in 4th, and he said it's going to be very, very close on fuel for Pappas.
17 laps remain. On board with 2nd place, Michael Andretti,
as
the winner the past 2 years.
You can see as he goes into the corner how high that dark line is up to the right side of the car. That's where everybody else is driving. Now watch as we come down into turn 1. Watch how early he turns in. Look how high the groove is up to his right. Michael's got something figured out. He does this also at Milwaukee, I've noticed over the years. But that seems to be where the Swift Ford is working the best. We've got some other great battles behind him. We've got Blundell and Pappas working hard, as well as Barron and Cristiano D'Amata. But as we ride along, watch Michael Andretti driving where no one else dares go at this stage of the race.
Brian Herta just brought the shell car in. He was running in 12th, 1 lap behind the race.
Well, we're watching as they service Herta's car, top him off with fuel. Should have him underway momentarily.
More than Andretti, then Vassar, then Franchitti. It drops off a little bit.
Well, I think what we're seeing
1.3
is that Michael's car's picked up even more of an understeer, and that's what's causing him to go down lower and lower. Typically, if the car's oversteering you right around the top of the groove, Michael's keeping the car down low so that he can get on the power as soon as he can coming off the corner. That's going to be his limiting factor for trying to catch Greg Moore and getting a lot of straight line speed coming off of turns 2 and turns 3.
Helio Castro Neves slows on the front stretch, gets the car down off the track onto the exit road. There he is. Keep an eye on this track, and you'll see 2 entirely different black lines of groove. The reason for that is that the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series ran here yesterday, and they run a diamond pattern, and that lays a different groove, and it's upset the plans of a number of the IndyCar teams. They weren't really very happy with it. There you see the interval. 1st to 2nd, Moore to Andretti. Jimmy Vassar just behind this. 1.112 laps left to go. We'll be back.
When you're in the zone and you're on the edge, and I mean the edge, but you're in control, and you can bring that sucker home in 1st place, that's heaven. Hell is when you put it in the fence.
Coming in for a fast shine, guys. He's pressed for time, but he's still gonna get a great shine. Introducing new Turtle Wax Express Shine Liquid Car Wax. Just wipe on. There's no buffing. The rich Carnauba formula in Turtle Wax Express Shine gives you hard shell protection and breakthrough shine in no time. Great for all finishes. Clear coats too. Turtle Wax Express Shine. Spray or new liquid. So fast it runs circles around the rest.
Beer is the best it can be at the brewery, fresh and at its peak of taste. Light, heat, and age are all enemies of beer that work against its taste from the moment it leaves the brewery. Budweiser's 12 local breweries ensure that your Budweiser is fresh and has not been subject to long trips. So you might say your Budweiser has less miles on it, and that means it'll taste like it does straight from its source.
Okay, you're the new driver. You need a new car.
Yeah, I'm looking for a speedy one.
Juan, just your style.
You think so?
A little work and this baby will purr like a kitten.
Are you sure?
Vanity mirrors.
I don't know, I want like a red car.
Yeah, I like this one here. I see checkered flag. Hi, I'm Jimmy Vassar. Something in a sedan. And this is Juan Montoya. Juan, this is a real deal. They don't make them like this anymore.
He's right. Are you sure Sonora started out this way?
Trust me.
Back at Homestead, Helio Castroneves, the Hogan car, the Lola that was doing so well earlier, now has a problem as he begins to show vapor at the back of the car. You saw just a couple of moments ago, he pulled off the course. Nothing has changed on the track. We're still under green with 11 laps remaining. Greg Moore is the leader. Michael Andretti second. Jimmy Vassar third. Will this bring out a yellow? I don't think so. He's back onto the pit road, so it should not.
What a shame for this Hogan Racing team. They've done so well. They led this race comfortably. They commanded it, and now Motors let go for that.
Again, traffic is the problem. Moore comes around Vitolo. Michael Andretti will engage him shortly. Interval also stretches back a bit now, 1.4 seconds.
The only thing Michael Andretti can do at this point, Paul, is to make sure that he's got everything in his control, which are the sway bars inside the car and the weight jacker. These are devices used to change the lateral stiffness of the car and the corner weights of the car to try to make sure that car is as well balanced as possible. Now, on the onboard camera, we haven't seen him adjusting anything. There are a number of buttons and switches on the steering wheel that allow him to control the weight jacking device. Down at his left hand are the anti-roll bars, which control the stiffness of the chassis, both at the front and the rear of the vehicle. Michael seems to be content with the way the car is working that low line all the way through turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, as you mentioned earlier, the trucks have run here, and Michael is using that truck line on the entry of turn 1 and turn 3, so I think there's a little bit of NASCAR in Michael Andretti.
8 laps remain. Michael Andretti has won the last 2. He is in second, chasing Greg Moore. Back in third place, Jimmy Vassar. And there's the interval between Andretti and Vassar.
Paul, for Vassar, they're keeping a very tight eye on that fuel, but as one of the crew team reported, nobody's panicking yet. 8 laps to go.
Well, we're going to carry all the way through the finish of this race. It's only 7 laps to go. I can guarantee you, there's some folks up and down pit road holding their breath, looking at the calculators and computers again and hoping, boy, I hope this calculation is right on fuel.
Well, I think they not only have a fuel problem. If you listen to Jimmy getting back on the throttle coming out of turns 2 and 4, he's got a little bit of a hesitation. Listen. You can hear it just there, Paul. And Paul Tracy and I were talking during the break. We were surprised with all the testing that Team Ganassi has done that Jimmy Vassar hasn't moved forward more sooner in the race. But now we see Dario Franchitti coming up right behind Jimmy Vassar. And Jimmy's having a problem getting off turn 2, Paul.
Yeah, Franchitti is right there now. In fact, we hope we can keep an eye for him. There he is, just off the right rear. Moore, the leader, picked up 2.4 over Michael on the last lap. So Michael now struggling to keep up with the leader. Look at this. Franchitti tries to move to the inside, uses the toe. They sweep into the corner together, and Franchitti moves forward, picks up third place, 5 laps to go.
We can pick that up on the onboard, Paul. If you can't get back on the throttle with confidence, it's going to kill your straight line speed. And Dario's had great corner exit all day long. He used that to his advantage, waited for the right time, pulled the move, got him cleanly going through start finish down into turn 1. Jimmy didn't give up easily, but he had to yield eventually because Dario just had too much speed.
First, second, there's third. You see the interval as they head into turn 1 with 4 remaining. Again, 4 miles. They're burning that methanol fuel down, taking the tank down to fumes. Remember, too, new cars, first race of the season. They may not have practiced getting it all the way empty. They may not be able to get all the fuel out of the tank, even if they have enough. Those are all worries that are going through the pit crew's minds right now. Interval at the front, stretched out.
moment, Jimmy doesn't have to worry about being attacked from behind. Max Pappas is a good 6.7 seconds behind him. But Dario now is trying to set his sights on Michael Andretti. Remember, Paul, there's bragging rights. You may not be able to win the race, but being up on the podium is worth its weight in silver or gold, as the case may be, and that's what Dario's looking for.
Greg Moore now using every inch of this race course to keep speed and momentum up with 2 laps to go. He is the leader, followed by Michael Andretti, the winner of the past 2 races here at Homestead. And as he comes off the corner, Michael closes. Still, it's going to be a very dicey last lap. I don't think he can do it. 1.9 seconds was the interval across the line as the white flag comes out. There's Michael Andretti in pursuit now. But remember, if the engine would falter at this moment, things could change. Oh, what a great gamble they've taken, and it looks like, in fact, it may pay off. Greg Moore up off of turn 3, now off of 4. Looking at the checkered flag. The gamble pays off. Greg Moore takes his 5th career win. His 4th on an oval. Now we're going to take it back. 2nd comes across, 3rd. Look at this battle for 5th. That's Pappas, then DeFerrin, and then Patrick Carpentier. And that's the way they come to the line. Well, the first race of the season is now complete. It stumbled to a start. Of course, Al Unser Jr. and Naoki Hattori both suffering fractures in an accident on the first lap, and it ends with a very, very tactical race. And Forsyth Championship Racing taking the win with Greg Moore. Michael Andretti in 2nd. These are unofficial. Dario Franchitti is 3rd. Then Jimmy Vasser, Max Pappas, Phil DeFerrin, Patrick Carpentier.
Shows you how close the series is, Paul. It's Mercedes, Ford, and Honda across the stripe in just over 2 seconds. It's going to be a great season, no doubt. With all the talk of Newman Haas Racing switching over to Firestone tires, they took a gamble. It worked, as you said. Michael Andretti in 2nd place. The longest run they've ever done on Firestone tires. Not bad for a first run.
That, by the way, is the 19th win in a row for Firestone. As Greg Moore now undoes the helmet and begins to celebrate victory in the first race of the season. And let me tell you, finishing in the top 5 has been absolutely critical to winning the championship in the past 4 or 5 years. So the unofficial results: Greg Moore takes the pole. That's what the P stands for. The L tells you he led the most laps, and he takes the win. You look down through the rest of the field in a race that did have some considerable attrition, especially right there at the start. Greg Moore has taken the victory at Homestead Miami Speedway. We'll be back and talk with our newest champion in the kart FedEx Championship Series right after this.
Well, I believe I was born to race. In fact, my mom raced when she was pregnant with me. Winning. And I truly believe that's my destiny.
In racing, the engine is everything.
What?
It's the driver. A driver will never see a finish line without a great engine.
The greatest engine will never see a victory lap without a great driver.
At least they agree on Haviland Formula 3 motor oil, the same oil you can buy right off the shelf.
The engine's the first thing over the finish line.
Not in Indy cars.
Right now, Firestone tires are on sale. 4 for $99. Add a new 50,000-mile warranty, and people will buy them 8 at a time, maybe even 12.
The 4 for $99 sale at Firestone.
I'm gonna Kansas City. Kansas City, here I come. On the road to Morocco, Chicago.
FedEx carries more express packages to more places than any other shipping company on the planet. Everywhere from
Georgia
to
Barcelona.
About the only thing we can't carry is a tune. FedEx. Be absolutely sure.
Adolphus Busch went to Germany every summer looking at different breweries, and he wrote a series of letters back to his son. September the 20th, 1897. I would advise that we buy the finest growths of barley as soon as we can. We cannot make fine malt from inferior barley, and we cannot make fine beer from inferior malt.
Toyota presents the Grand Prix of Miami, and our ESPN coverage is being brought to you by FedEx. The next time, send it FedEx and be absolutely sure. And by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of CART. Hey, race fans, this Bud's for you. We gave you the top 15 finishers. Now we give you the full field rundown as we give you the medical update on Naoki Hattori. He has fractures to his lower left legs. He's still being evaluated local hospital. Al Unser Jr. fractures to his lower right leg, and again the evaluation there continues. They're celebrating already in winner's circle. Here's Gary.
Yes, indeed, Paul. We watch from the opposite side. They've got a rostrum over here now and a new bit of ceremony that will be introduced to the finish of these events. Greg will be up here momentarily, and we'll have an opportunity to get a word with him. And, Greg, this is one of those ideal ways to start the season. I don't imagine you could be happier, but what we're wondering, how much of a gamble was it in terms of the fuel in the last few laps? Were you nervous?
I was running the leanest that I could for a while, and then they kept telling me to bring it off. And, you know, my guys, the whole players team, I mean, Alex deserves a big pat on the head for this one. He's our fuel guy, and, I mean, what an awesome job, I mean, for everybody here. Just first race of the year, you know, this place is almost like it owed us something, and we finally got it. I mean, it's a good job for everybody.
Have you been feeling any kind of pressure because so many people have said you and your team are top championship caliber material for 1999?
Well, I think this just shows that we're going to be good on the ovals. It's just a question now what happens on the street and the road circuits, but I firmly expect once we get to Long Beach, we'll surprise a lot of people. But, I mean, what a perfect day. I mean, I was a little worried there because Dario was running so strong, but then he came in. He wouldn't gamble on that fuel, and I had confidence in my guys. It's just a great day for everyone here at the Players team.
Any time on the racetrack, did you encounter difficulty, apprehension, something that maybe kind of brought your heart up close to your throat?
The first stint with my car was extremely loose, and you know, all I could do was just hang on. You know, I kept Pat behind me, but he was awfully strong, and too bad for him. It could have been a good players one too, but most importantly is I won.
Indeed, and what a way to start a championship chase. You only got, what, 19 more to go?
Exactly.
Yeah, pole laps and win. It's hard to do better than that. Now, Michael Andretti, for him, the gamble may in fact have been worth every minute of it. Let's go to Jan Beekes.
Michael, 1 year ago, you won this race, and then you had a very difficult season. You have jokingly said you were hoping you wouldn't win this so you'd have a good season. Your thoughts on that now?
Well, I said finish second here and win the next 19 races, so far we're going to plan.
Now, a lot of people have said the Swift is not the chassis to have, but you showed today that maybe it is.
Yeah, the car was fine. We just missed it a little bit on the setup. It wasn't great, but it was good enough to finish up there. It was good enough to win the race. If I wouldn't have stalled it in the pits, we would have won the race for sure because it was a game of track position.
And I understand there's some aerodynamic updates that you might have in time for the next race. That's got to give you even more confidence.
Well, we hope so. You know, you never know until you bolt the things on and see if it actually works. But, you know, we're hoping. We know Swift's working hard, and, you know, we should have a good shot.
Your thought on the Firestones. You were excited about long runs. How did they feel?
Great. I mean, in the end of the race, I ran my quickest lap, like, I think two laps from the end of the race. So that says something about those tires. They really hung in there great. You know, they were great. The engine, the Firestone tires, and the Ford engine was just awesome because fuel mileage was great, and that almost won us the race as well.
Well, congratulations, and have a good time in Motegi.
Thank you.
All right, we got to go over the floor.
Well, you look up on that board, and you see number 27 in the third spot, and for a while today, it looked like the great work in the pits. You might have a real good shot to win this. Now, what's your satisfaction or disappointment factor? Bring us up to speed.
Oh, I talked all weekend with my engineer Don about we get a top 5, we'll be happy. We'll leave here with a top 5. You know, we finished here 9th last year. At one point in the race, after my first stop, great pit stops by the guys, and I thought, hey, we're leading this thing, we're pulling away.
but we played it very conservatively. We made that extra stop just to be sure everything worked, just to be sure the tyres were okay. Tyres were great all day in Firestone. We just wanted to be really conservative. Good mileage from the Honda, but I'm so happy with the guys at Team Colgrane. Great stops, and the car was awesome all day. I like driving ovals when the car's like this.
I'm going to say, for a guy who's kind of slowly warmed up to getting comfortable on an oval, this is a great way to start a season.
Yeah, I'm red hot at the moment, so I'm looking forward to the next race.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Well, the Target teammates had a nice ride today. Jimmy Vassar, good run at the end, but then Franchitti put a move on you. Was that a case where you were saving fuel?
A little bit of that, and I was out on tires for a long time, over 60 laps, so he had fresher rubber, and he was hooked up all day, and I got a little bit bogged down coming off of 4, trying to get around Michel Jourdain, and Dario had a good run today, and he had a better car than me at the time, so it was a good move he made. So I'm happy, all things considered, to come away with some decent championship points.
Yeah, I guess that's the key. If you're going to repeat in the championship every race, you got to get some points. Now, for you got some points as well. Your ride today, your first rookie run, how'd you feel?
I'm happy, we had some problems even from the beginning of the race. The car was really losing the first run, like 5 seconds of the pace, and I couldn't even drive the car, I was just asking, please, come, I want to come in because this is dangerous. But no, the team after that did a great job and make the car quite good, and at the end we were very quick, I think.
And again, the Target team has the reliability. Both guys come home with all 4 wheels in the car.
Sometimes we take for granted the great effort it takes to drive these cars, and this is a very emotional moment for Gilles de Ferran, who battled back from a crash yesterday, no qualifying time, in an ill-handling race car, and you get up here with a 6th place finish, and I know there's a lot of satisfaction, but it takes a toll, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I have to say that we've been putting a lot of effort into this, and we're really looking forward to this race. It's a big disappointment yesterday because the car was very good, and I guess we just want to win so bad. You have no idea. But the team did a good job. We probably had the best car out there today. Just making up that big a deficit is tough, but we'll win one pretty soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We've had a chance to meet some of the key players in the run here today. Congratulations again to Greg Moore, the first win of the season. Now next they load all the equipment up, put it on airplanes, head across the Pacific. The CART Firestone Firehawk 500K at the Twin Ring Motegi, Japan. You'll see that coverage on ESPN. And then it's back across the Pacific to the United States, the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. The first road race of the season as we're ready to do it in the streets on the 18th of April, one of the real jewels in the entire CART series. So Paul Page for Parker Johnstone, Gary Gerald, Jan Vikas, we hope you've enjoyed this opening run of the season, and it gives you some idea how good the rest of the season may be. For our final Toyota Spotlight of the day, we'll take a look at some of the key moments in this race.